Hello, I'm Adam Riley and I'm here today to solve prepping data week 26 using Enso. Week 26, DataFam Europe Special. Sadly, I'm not in London today, but still looking forward to solving this problem. So we've got a Excel workbook, which I've pre-downloaded and am reading into Enso using a data read component. We have three worksheets in this workbook. We've got the London tube stations, attraction footfall, and location lat longs. And we need to do some various cleaning up of each of these three worksheets. So need to input the data, so we've done that. And then we're going to start with the London tube station table. So if I double click on London tube stations in the visualization, that will add me a read that is reading that sheet. We can take a look what this data looks like. Blow out to full screen secondly. So this is a list of, so we've got underground lines in London with station names and locations. So it wants us to only keep the information about the station name and location. So we'll do that with a select columns component. And so we need the station name, right longitude, right latitude. So obviously there's some naming issues here. So clean up the field names is the next instruction. So just to rename columns for this one. So station is correctly named. Right longitude, it wants to be renamed to station longitude, just looking at the screenshot. Station longitude and station right latitude wants to be station latitude. Just copy and paste that across. Station latitude. Okay, let's just zoom that out slightly so we can see how we're doing. Okay, so now we've got some clean data, but we've got some duplicates. So make sure each row is unique. So we can just do a distinct on the station name, and that gives us unique list of stations, and that matches the 267 rows that we're expecting as we get further down. Okay, so I think that's everything we need to do for the stations table. So I'm just going to collapse that down into a collapse function, so I can keep my workflow clean as I go. And I'm just going to put a comment on there. So clean up tube stations. And then we can move on to the second part of the problem, which is the next table. So again, if I expand here, double click on attraction footfall, that's going to add me a second one, and I'm going to work just here sort of parallel to that one there. Okay, so for attraction football, again, let's have a look at the data here. So we'll go full screen. So we've got, so there's a header row that I need to move up, so I can do that in a second. And then for each attraction, we've got footfall per year. So headers has headers, so that moves up those there, as you can see. It gives us the years. Filter out attractions with missing data. So if we go back to this view, we can see we've got a few that aren't numeric fields, and we've got a few blanks over here as well. So those records aren't great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cast all of those numeric fields to numbers. So I'm going to select those 5 fields, cast them to an integer, and as I expected, we get this warning. So we've got these dashes in the column 2022. Those can't be converted to numbers, so it's given us this warning. And if we look in the visualization, we can see they've become nothing values, which is great because we can then filter out the nothing values. So I'm happy with that. That's expected warning, so I'm going to click ignore on that warning just to make it go away. And then I can use the filter blank rows component. So by default, this, if any field contains a blank row, it removes it. So now we can see we've got a nice clean table where we've got data everywhere, which is what we wanted. Okay, so now we want to reshape the data so there's a row for each year for each attraction. So that's just a transpose tool. So we do transpose. A key column is characteristic. It's not a great name, is it? But looks like that should be renamed to attraction. Let's do the transpose and then we'll do the rename after because we've got some more. So what that does is takes what were, but we can look before and after, what were column headers become field values with the value. So that's exactly what we need. Okay, so next thing we need to do is rename some of those columns so we can clean those up. So characteristics, as we said, that wants to be attraction. The value field, sorry, well, the name field is year, and the value field is the attraction footfall. Okay, so that's looking a little bit better. So now we need to multiply the values by 1,000 to get their true values. So these are obviously measured in thousands. So we just do a set component for that. We can do a simple expression, take the attraction footfall, and under math we have multiply, and then I can just type in a number value, which is going to be 1,000, and if I decide to update, it's going to overwrite the existing field. So there we go, that's multiplied those out. Next we need to calculate the average footfall for each attraction while keeping all the details of individual years, and we're going to call that the 5-year. Okay, so we want to do aggregate. So aggregate, so group by attraction, and we want to take the average of the attraction football as 5-year AVG football. Let's take a look at that. Looks good. But I want to keep the original field, so to do that I want to join that data back on. So put that into the right hand side of my join, inner join on attraction, and now I've got all my original data plus the 5-year average for attached on the side. So next I need to rank the attractions based on this 5-year average footfall. So we can see down in the final results down here there's an attraction rank field. So I can do that, if I can do that over here on this split off here, so I'm going to add a new component in here. So rank in Enso is add row number. So I can call it attraction rank. I want it to start with 1, so I want it to be 1 based rather than 0 based. And then I'm going to order by that 5-year footfall and descending. So if we expand that out, we can see the British Museum having the highest footfall becomes rank 1. Natural History Museums, the second highest, gets rank 2. So that's exactly what we need there. then I'm just going to replace that into my join. Just clean up the alignment here a little bit. So now we've got the attraction rank on there. So that's everything we need to do for that particular table. So again, I'm going to collapse these down just to keep my workflow clean as I work. So yeah, group the selected components. And again, I can just rename this to, sorry, not rename, comment on this, clean up traction football. Okay, so then the last thing we need to do is on the location lat longs table. So again, we'll double click, bring that one in. And I'm going to put it over to the right hand side here, sort of 3 parallel streams of work. And if we take a look at this one, we've got, okay, so we've got 2 columns. We've got attraction name, so again that's a header, so it has headers. Attraction name, and then lat long seems to come in a single field, which is what it says in the instructions. So once it's split into 2 separate fields, so that's easy enough. We can do a split to columns on the field called lat comma longs with a common delimiter. So that breaks that out, and then we can just do a rename columns to clean these up. So attraction name, that looks good. So lat longs 1 wants to be attraction latitude, and lat longs 2 wants to be attraction longitude. Great, that's looking good. So the last thing we want to do is output the data to an Excel file, having each table as a separate sheet. So, I mean, I could group these two as well. I guess it would give me some symmetry. I guess I will in case in the future I want to do any more. In some ways it doesn't seem worth it, given there's only 2, but I think I like the symmetry of having it clean. So, and this one is clean up lat longs. Okay, so now we need to write these 3 tables out into a single Excel workbook. So to do that, we use the write component. So path, I'm just going to call it output.xlsx. Downloads folder is fine for now. So if I run this now, it will write me a Excel workbook. It will just default to a sheet name, but I want to put all 3 into the same Excel workbook. So I'm going to select Excel sheet, and then I can put a sheet name in. So this I'm going to call tube locations. And then I can do the same thing for the next one. So in actual fact I could copy paste this and connect this one in and name this attraction football. And then I can do the same again on this third one. But just before I do that, I'm going to make a slight change to that. So this works fine and it's a fine approach. One thing to note with the write, it actually outputs the file name of where it writes. So at the minute it's outputting this temporary file name because we're in design mode, so we're not actually writing the file until we press this write button at the top. It's writing this temporary file here. And we can use that to 2 advantages. One, we can save repeating. So if I decide I'm going to change the location of this, with the current design I've got to change it in 3 locations. I'm going to take the output of that and I'm going to replace the path there. So this means I get to enter it once, and also it's going to control the order it writes these sheets in. So it's going to write tube locations first, then attraction football, and now I'm going to copy and paste this one. I'm going to continue to cascade it down, and I want to write that data, and this final one is attraction locations. So if I now press the right button, this is going to run that workflow through from end to end and write out my Excel file with all those 3 worksheets. So that is our entire workflow. So we've got the collapse sections, just keeping it clean. And this was Prepping Data Week 26 solved in Enso. Thank you for watching.